Hey everyone, Blake Anderson here, a Toronto-based videographer who found a way to make video production significantly less painful these days. I'm constantly folding practical, real-world AI into every single stage of my creative process. Trust me, this isn't science fiction hype. We are going to run through pre-production, the actual production phase, and then post-production to see where the time saves really happen. The goal is to let various AI tools handle the heavy lifting so I can stay laser focused on the core creative vision and final aesthetic look. Stick around because this is the exact battle-tested system I use to get from a blank canvas idea to a finished, delivered video without completely burning out. So let's kick things off where everything starts. Pre-production, which for me is all about voice capture. I honestly do most of my initial creative thinking by just talking out loud rather than typing out the first draft. I simply use a dictation app on my phone, like Whisper or any other solid transcription-focused service, and I just ramble through the entire concept. Whisper is great because it lets you record incredibly long takes and it handles those long durations without any fuss or cutting you off. The real magic is that it spits out perfectly readable paragraphs instead of one gigantic, unusable wall of continuous text. That nicely formatted text then gives you a solid foundation that you can quickly rework and refine into something usable. From that actionable text, the next step is sending it straight into my established note pipeline for organization. I have my email system automatically forwarding those transcripts directly into a specific folder I've labeled drafts using smart inbox routing. I prefer keeping those raw drafts open on my Mac, usually in an app like Ulysses or Obsidian, depending on what kind of mood I'm in that day. The most important thing here is simply establishing one clean single place where that raw dictation immediately becomes usable, edited copy. Here is a tiny productivity tip that has genuinely saved my life when dealing with repetitive actions: snippets. I run TextExpander and I keep dedicated snippets stored for all my common AI prompts and essential formatting templates. Instead of recreating the same complex request from scratch every single time, I just paste in a standardized prompt. For example, I ask it to turn this dictation into a 10-slide outline, complete with a title and 3 bullet points per slide, which is incredibly specific. I also always ask it to provide a strong H1 title right at the top of the generated structure for immediate use. I usually request between 10 and 15 slides initially, as that gives me enough structural room for the talk thread without overscripting. Remember, the whole point of this initial AI generation is organizational structure, not locking you into cage-like teleprompter lines. Once I receive those structured slides back from my chosen large language model, I immediately format everything perfectly in Markdown. This involves adding proper H1 and H2 separation, using dashes between the slides, and establishing a clean heading hierarchy for portability. I then paste this newly formatted Markdown into my favorite Markdown first slide tool and tweak the design template until the look is exactly right. After that, a quick export to PowerPoint, opening it in Keynote, and then I pick one single, simple animation style to apply globally. Boom! We instantly have animated slides that look way more professional and engaging than just plain, boring static text blocks. Keynote is my secret weapon for achieving that quick, clean motion in the presentation slides without any real headache. I always mandate a single, simple transition across every single slide, ensuring nothing fussy distracts the audience from the core message. Then, I export the entire finished slide deck directly as a ProRes movie, usually opting for ProRes 422 or 422 LT for slightly smaller file sizes. Yes, those ProRes files are inherently larger, but they survive the inevitable color grading and later edits downstream so much better. Now for the actual recording phase, which I keep remarkably straightforward and organic. If my slides are visible to me, I speak very naturally, glancing over to expand on a key point or just tossing in a relevant personal anecdote. That authentic, natural cadence is absolutely crucial for keeping the final viewer engaged and wanting to watch the whole thing through. I always make sure to shoot flatly on the color front and, of course, record excellent, clean audio to start with. The take I capture should always feel conversational and authentic, not like I'm reading a stiff wooden script aloud to a camera. Once recording is done, I bring every single asset into my preferred non-linear editor, which is usually Final Cut Pro for my main projects. I run a quick initial color pass, maybe apply some classic magic bullet looks for that extra professional polish, and then export the H260 or master file. But before I spend hours manually fine-cutting the narrative, I run that entire master through a transcript-based editor like Descript. Descript's built-in filler word removal and AI-driven cut tools are unbelievably helpful for cleaning up the performance automatically. It will find and erase all those pesky ums, those overly long pauses, and virtually all the dead air with just a single click. I still go in and review every single machine edit, of course, but this process often shaves multiple full hours off the initial rough cut time. Here is where a massive number of creators stop and then spend days manually slicing short-form clips for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, which is a gigantic time sink. That's precisely when I bring in a specialized tool like Vizard, and I want to be completely honest about using it alongside my existing apps, not replacing them entirely. Vizard's AI auto-editing feature can analyze that entire long video and surface the most genuinely engaging moments, perfect for social media consumption. It identifies clips that are highly likely to perform well, and I have to admit, its accuracy on this front is shockingly good. It absolutely does not replace my own creative eye, but it hands me a ranked list of viral-ready snippets so I don't have to hunt for hours. Just compare that process to the old method, manually scrubbing the whole timeline, guessing where the punchlines actually land, and exporting 10 tiny clips by hand. Or compare it to other services that just blindly trim footage based on simple silence detection, which is fast but completely clueless about real virality signals. Vizard intelligently looks at genuine engagement cues and contextual understanding to suggest cuts that are actually usable for social platforms. It's not flawless, sometimes it suggests a clip that needs a little creative reframing, but the overall time saving is massive, bordering on unbelievable. The second feature I utilize constantly is the automated scheduling function right there within the platform. Once Vizard generates a whole batch of shorts, I set the desired posting frequency, and the system queues them up automatically for me. This means I can batch schedule an entire month of daily short content in about an hour of focused work, freeing up my time. Instead of having my whole week dominated by the nagging question, what am I supposed to post today? I get a steady, reliable content drip. I can always go back and tweak a caption or swap out a clip later if I decide a different piece is more timely for that specific day. The third crucial element is the integrated content calendar, which keeps absolutely everything organized in one central location. No more juggling messy CSV spreadsheets, logging into multiple platform dashboards, or dealing with lost files scattered everywhere. I can instantly see what's queued up, what's already live, and what still requires a final custom thumbnail or a perfectly crafted caption. That final part, the batching of creative decisions, is actually one of the most underrated efficiency multipliers in this whole system. I let the AI select the best clips, and then I batch create all the necessary captions and thumbnails in one concentrated session. I still handcraft my main YouTube thumbnails because that single element is the primary conversion lever for long-form video performance. For supplemental graphics or unique thumbnail assets, I sometimes play around with AI image generators, perhaps using Midjourney if I need a very specific stylized graphic. But I'm always cautious about putting too much text directly onto those images because clean visuals without cramped words always read much better on a small phone screen. Let me share one more crucial editing trick I use, leveraging Final Cut's Magic Mask feature effectively. I use that mask to perfectly isolate myself and then layer the presentation slides or any supporting imagery directly behind me on the timeline. This looks significantly more dynamic and engaging than a traditional, boring side-by-side split-screen composition. I sometimes cut between a full-frame view of just my face and the masked overlay version to prevent the viewer from experiencing any visual fatigue. When the main long-form edit is finally locked down, I export that final version and immediately toss it into Descript one last time. This final pass automatically generates a high-quality YouTube description, detailed video chapters, and a polished, time-coded transcript for accessibility. That entire copywriting and structuring task used to consume a solid 20 or 30 minutes of focused effort, but now it's mostly just a 5-minute review and minor tweak. And then, as we covered, I feed all those finished short clips directly into Vizard for the final packaging and automated social scheduling run. Here are a couple of critical pro tips to keep in mind. Never let any tool make a creative decision you personally care about blindly, no matter how good it seems. AI excels at finding patterns and handling massive amounts of repetitive grunt work, but it remains incredibly blunt when dealing with specific brand nuance. Use it for the monotonous tasks, like finding those likely viral snippets or cleaning up all that filler audio, but keep the core messaging human. You also need to be mindful of subscription costs because those various platforms can definitely start to add up across an entire workflow. Vizard, in my experience, pays for itself very quickly if you are constantly churning out long-form content that needs a steady stream of derivative shorts. When you compare that ROI to paying an editor a high hourly rate or spending all your personal free time editing, it's a huge multiplier on your time. Lastly, and most importantly, please remember the fundamental reason you started making videos, which is to share an idea that truly matters to you. These AI tools, the dictation apps for getting thoughts out, the Markdown for structure, Descript for cleaning, and Vizard for social engine, they are all just scaffolding. They are mechanisms that help you move through the creation steps faster so you can spend more time experimenting and iterating quickly. I can happily break down any single step in more detail, like exactly how I configure my TextExpander snippets or my preferred Keynote export settings. And if you're genuinely curious about integrating Vizard without sacrificing your personal creative control, I can map out that exact workflow for your specific channel type. If any of this information was useful to you today, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future efficiency deep dives. I will definitely put together a follow-up video showing this entire Vizard workflow in real time, step by step, as I actually execute it. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown today, and seriously, go out there and make something you are truly proud of creating.